Hey, I'm so late today. It was go up and spray food plots and drop a tractor off day at my other place. So the dogs and I loaded up and we headed out to do a little work. We've got it's Memorial Day weekend, as everyone knows, and I always try to get my first set of food plots in during Memorial Day. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it this year. We got a lot of rain, so the ground was very wet. It wasn't so wet that I couldn't get my side by side in, but I really fear that I might bury my tractor right to the axles if I get it in there to try to get it set. So we will see. It's supposed to be dry until then. We'll see where things are at and see if things get to the point where we can get them in. Otherwise, we'll have to wait a week. Hope everyone's having a wonderful day. Beautiful day here in Wisconsin. We are about 68 degrees, sunny, a little bit of wind, but just a wonderful day. The dogs and I, this morning, we just worked on basics, obedience, worked on heeling, worked on fetching off of the ground while they're walking. So just more of a maintenance day. I like to do those, and I save them, save my shorter training days in my stuff where I don't have to put as much, I guess, time into setup. I save those for my busy day of the week. It's not that the dogs don't get the same amount of time. It's just you don't have as much time where you have to go out and set things up and go to different parts of the property to work the dogs. You can do it all as more of like a yard work / obedience right there with the dogs. Yeah, it was. They all did well today. Again, dog blind. Let's see, we did dog blind. We did fetching off the ground. We did holding drills. We did heeling drills, and just general obedience. They're all pretty much in finishing school now, getting ready to go home. They all go home a week from this Friday and Saturday, and yeah, they should be all set. They're doing really good. Good group of dogs. We get the next group in the 30th and 31st of May, and those will be here until they go home in September. So I've got Memphis and Scarlett here, the co-hosts of Dog Talk Live, as well as Ace. They are what are buzzing around behind me. They, of course, want to make sure that they're on the show because, well, you know, they're co-hosts. So here's Memphis. She is always, I've tried talking to her about putting her back to the camera and about looking me in the face when I'm trying to do Dog Talk Live. But she just does not care. She does what she wants, and she's now falling down, and she does it her way. So that's definitely Memphis. Yeah, it's definitely her way, or the highway. As you guys check in, it's a different time of day, so maybe we've got some people on that we haven't reached before. First, we have to show drop. Scarlett has an elephant, and the elephant is gone. We ask you to check in and let us know where you're from, and please type in your questions as a comment. We're on YouTube Live as well as Facebook Live. Type in your question as a comment. I'll try to answer them. If for some reason I get to this later and it's after the live event, I always try to come back and check for questions and answer them as the post is up. But it's just a nice way for us to communicate with our fans and talk to people and try to answer any questions about puppies, dogs, training, or hunting. YouTube, we just had a question. What do we do for tick prevention? We have Simparica, and they actually have a really cool all-in-one. So you're getting your Heartgard as well as your flea and tick all in one pill. It's a chewable. I'm not against topicals. We used topicals for a long time. The problem I always had with using topicals is I would put them on the dog and the dog would go jump in the pond. And then you pretty much get to get another topical out, which with that, they're very expensive. So we went to a chewable for our dogs and it's worked out really, really well. Ned is checking in from New York. Mark from Kentucky. What age for a puppy to walk at heel with no leash? Mark, I do my formal obedience training with a dog at 6 months old. I would say usually around 6.5 months. That is when they are through their e-collar training and is being reinforced with a collar, so I don't do it before then. Obviously, puppies can and will walk at heel for you, but when you're actually reinforcing stuff and putting pressure on them, you want to make sure that they're old enough so they're more mature. How we doing, Mr. Peterson in Southeast Wisconsin? Rich is checking in from Nebraska. I hope you saw that I had your girl Memphis on. Let's see, Charlie, Robert Hall, Chesapeake City, Maryland. All right, we got John from Eastern Maryland. We got Michigan checking in. Not good in your state. I'm sorry to hear that, Stephanie. I know you guys are having a rough go. Is it beneficial to hire a handler or do it yourself? Rich asked. Rich, I guess it depends on how you look at things. Some people look at, and Rich is asking for running hunt tests. Some people, like myself, want results because it's a business. Other people want a fun thing to do with their dogs so that they are enjoying it. Ace, come here. Ace is killing the hedgehog. Ace, here. Here. Come here, buddy. Drop. Our hedgehog has lost a foot. Now, we're going to have to sew the hedgehog. Go. So, again, back to running hunt tests. People like the experience. It's a social thing. They enjoy it out. And they really have fun running their own dogs. Some people the result of getting the ribbon and the title. If you're all about the results, I will tell people, because I have people that question me, like, you don't actually run your own dogs and hunt tests out. And I tell them just basically very point blank, I'm not a fool. I know that someone that runs dogs professionally at hunt tests is going to do a much better job running them out. My goodness, you ever have a dog that's stand and pant right at you and he has bad breath? I'm going to have a dog that is going to be handled by someone that does that for a living and is going to basically, when they see stuff, they're going to see it more than I will when that is not something I do all the time. The other thing to keep in mind, why I don't run my own dogs, they need to see a different property 3 to 4 times a week so that they're not just being trained at one place. For me as a trainer, if I am running a dog here, it takes so much less time because I have everything I need for a young dog. But I want to make sure that I am, hold on one second, guys, I'll be right back. Come here. Come on. Come on. Scarlett, come here. Come here. Sorry about that. I had to put Mr. Ace over in the crate because he was just panting on me, and he actually decided he was going to try wrestling with one of the other dogs on the way over to the crate and in the crate. But so again, if you're gonna look for your best way to get your dogs to pass a test, if you have someone that is very seasoned in running a dog, that's gonna be your best bet. If you are looking at having a fun experience, I think you should run your own dog. You know, if anything, run your dogs at the lower levels either way. So junior or started, even if you're using a trainer, you can still handle your own dog. At that point, your dog is going to be prepared. When you release them from the line, they're either going to do it or they're not. If they don't, you have something you need to work with on training, and it lets you really be part of the equation. If you are going to run at a competition, join a club or find a nice pro that you're working with that is going to help you, teach you the ins and outs of handling. All right, Steve McCoy. Let's see. Healing up your shoulder from surgery as of Monday. I know I saw that, Steve. Sorry to hear that. Welcome back to Dog Talk Live. We got Sherry from Pennsylvania checking in. Annette, my Cocker Spaniel is 7 months old and she's afraid of every noise. How can I get introduced her to gunfire if we wanted to take her hunting? Annette, start at distance. You can start at distance with a crimp pistol, and shooting it basically sounds like a cap pistol. I would let your dog eat or have the dog where it is retrieving and really enjoying itself with another dog. I take dogs out, so then as you have that noise, move closer and closer. And then you graduate to something like a 209 primer pistol or a 410, and eventually graduate yourself up to a 12 gauge. Dogs that are sensitive to noise sometimes are not reclaimable now when you're doing training, but you want to always start, even if a dog isn't sensitive to noise, at distance so that you are getting it so that the dog is not scared. Again, I've told, we usually talk about this several times a week. I take out usually about 4 dogs, throw bumpers for them a couple of times in our outdoor run area where they hang out, and then I will shoot off a 209 primer pistol a few times, 3 or 4 sessions in, to the point where then I'm shooting every time I throw the bumper. They are so geeked up and excited about the other dogs being out there that they don't hear the shot. So it's making sure it is something that is to them in the background and now what they're focused on. Teal Point, Victoria, Australia. Welcome, Wayne. Good to have you on. Let's see. How do you do pile work or blind retrieves first, and why? Charlie, you're talking 2 totally different things with pile work and blind retrieves. Your blind retrieves, you are going to work with something called, eventually, where you're working on something called the T, which does start with your back pile. You're going to have the dog running straight through, and straight through. You're going to do force to pile. There's a lot of steps in between here. Then you're going to do 3-handed casting, which is playing baseball. Then you are going to do a T, which is where you're driving the dog through and you're stopping him at the pitcher's mound. So I guess I would find yourself something that would be a good training network or a good training book or series, so that you're doing these things sequentially so that you have it in the right place. Let's see, is Pickett still hunting this coming year? Daniel Schultz wants to know, or is he retired? Daniel in New Berlin, Pickett is retired. Pickett is 12. I usually retire him right after the season they turn 10. I at the same time have a lot of dogs, so that I can retire them, but I always worry about him being injured. Pickett is still built like a brick crab house. He is still very muscular, very, very great shape. So he still has a wonderful love for life. He's still being bred too. He has a love for that as well. But Pickett still runs around very well. Rommel's 2 years older. Rommel is he's pretty worn out. He really has trouble getting around. But Pickett is retired. I usually retire him right after 10. You're welcome, Annette. Let's see. Benefits of a dog with papers versus non-papered dog. Rich, honestly, it all comes down to pedigree. If you're buying a dog with a good pedigree, it is probably going to come with a registration. When you look at a dog, when you're looking at titles on a pedigree, that is showing ability, and that is showing a higher level bred dog. Just because a dog has papers per se, that doesn't mean anything. I see that advertised all the time. Dog has papers. Any dog can have papers. If you've got a dog that has absolutely 0 on its pedigree, it's no different than a dog that is not registered that has absolutely 0 on its pedigree. Again, focus on pedigree. You need to look at the dogs when you see lots of FCs, AFCs, MHs, HRCHs in that pedigree. That is a dog that is showing ability. Easiest way to explain it, if you have 2 people like my wife and myself and we have a child, we want our child to compete in the Olympics. They are probably not going to make it there. But if you have 2 Olympic athletes that have a child, that child will probably be more genetically predisposed to being a great athlete to be able to perform in the Olympics. So I hope that helps. Oh, how are we doing there, Carol? Good to see you on here. Again, if you are on, please let us know where you're from. Let us know what questions you have. We're on YouTube Live and Facebook Live. I try to do this every day of the week. Almost missed today. We were up doing spraying food plots, spraying weed killer on the food plots. What I do with my food plots, I till them, and then I spray them. I won't let it green up, then I spray them. And then I will take the seed out and the fertilizer out. I will put it on the food plot, and then I'll just till it, and it'll be in, and it's good to go. Works out pretty good for me. I don't think I quite hit the seed depths that you're supposed to on all of it, but at the same time, I really haven't had a problem getting the plots to grow. So that is what we did this morning after we got done training dogs and cleaning kennels, and now we're back doing Dog Talk Live. So, of course, please let me know what questions you have. Sherry, Jeff, I'm introducing a 14-week-old pup to birds next week. Any tips? I also have a friend introducing 7-month-old to birds as well. Sherry, I would make sure everything is under a controlled atmosphere. Have the dogs on leash. You don't want the dogs to go and grab birds, crush them, eat them, do all that good stuff. The other thing I would do would be I do not like big birds for dogs like a pheasant. I don't want them to get kicked and get hurt from a bird. I will always introduce with a dead bird first, and then I will do live birds after that. Good birds to use for introduction: pigeons, quail, chukar. Those are my go-to birds that I use when I'm teaching dogs on live birds first time. All right, Mr. Eland, how are you doing? What are your thoughts on using a treadmill in a pinch for exercising? Steve, I have never had my dog on a treadmill. I wouldn't know what to say to that. I would be so scared that my dogs would come flying off the end of it and it would hurt them. I have never had a dog on a treadmill, but I live out in the country, so that's kind of a tough one for me because I don't have I'm not stuck inside like many people are right now. Do you think chukars are okay? Yes, chukars are a good bird, Sherry. I like chukars. They don't run as fast as well for when you are sticking them out there. If you are going to do live birds, cut the flight feathers off of them so that they can't fly away on you. They will still be able to run, so keep that in mind. All right. Boy, you guys have been good. Lots of questions today. We're to the point here where I've got to go make dinner for my lovely wife. I'm going to give you a last call for questions. Last call for questions. I got to get the dogs out and feed them as well. Ace is probably mad at me right now. He was having fun playing with toys, wrestling with the other dogs, and I was the big mean person that took a quick hiatus away from Dog Talk Live, went over and put him in a crate. All right, let's see here. You are welcome, Sherry. I hope you have a good time training your dogs. Building a new duck plot. What's your recommendation? Well, I would say that you need to look at your different depths of your water. This is on YouTube, someone asked. Look at the depths of your water. I have done sago pondweed, which can be deeper. If you're doing rice, it's got to be something that is only 12 inches or less. I've tried 18 inches. It did not take. And you want to make sure that it's in something that's more controllable. 18 inches of water, I would look and see what you have out there as far as what is available to you, but sago pondweed is solid. And there are some other ones too that you can do. A lot of it's going to depend on your water temperature and if you're always at 18 inches or if it's going to fluctuate. If you go lower on your water, again, I'm talking to the person on YouTube. If you go lower in water, you can actually do rice. There's actually a really cool waterfowl food plot episode that we have on the show. You can look that up on our YouTube channel, and you can see the different stuff that we planted. I believe we talk about the different things that we were planting and the different depths that you can plant it at. So that would be a good thing for you if you are putting a duck pond in. So that's pretty much it. I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Thank you so much for joining us here again on Dog Talk Live. Sorry for being a little choppy. The dogs were excited, so got me off kilter a little bit, but I hope you guys all have a great day. Take care. God bless.